Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're back with r/entitled parents. First, we have Let Me Kidnap You or Else. And second, entitled parents think their child deserves an honors placement regardless of his class performance. Let's get right into it. Let me kidnap you or else. A bit of backstory. My parents were extremely abusive to the point I had been diagnosed with depression at 10 and PTSD at 13. By the time I was 18, they began threatening me more, as I ended up running away to live with my partner overseas. Yes, I met him twice before this in person and knew he was real. When I got there and decided to stay, I called my mom and told her I wasn't coming back and I was cutting contact with her and my dad. I told her I was safe and happy and wished her well. She didn't take it well, along with a load of insults and abuse, threatened to hurt herself if I didn't return. 2 days later, police were at our door at 3 a.m. with reports from her saying my partner had kidnapped me and I was mentally delayed, so he was taking advantage of me. Needless to say, these reports were completely unfounded. 2 years of harassment, threats, and bullcrap later, I had stopped engaging with them whenever they did stuff. That's when it happened. I'm still in contact with my godparents, and I was warned that my parents had made plans to travel over 3,000 miles to the country I'm living in with the sole purpose of tracking me down and taking me back against my will. They had literally planned to pick me up off the street and take me on a flight back. I came up with a plan. I had been to the police several times during the past 2 years and kept a paper trail just in case. I went to the police about their plans and was placed on a vulnerable persons list. The day before they came to this completely different country, my godparent had made me aware of them begging my uncle, a former police officer, to help them track down my new address, as I am no longer living at the last address they found out about, and thus had no idea where I was living. Of course, my uncle was no help. You'd think this is where it ends, as you can't possibly expect to land in a new country and be able to track someone's location then and there, right? Nah, they aren't too smart. So they land in the country and show up to my last address, only to find I'm not there and no one there knows where I am. With nothing left to turn to, they walk into a police station. They ask for help finding their missing daughter, and once they gave my age, 20, name, and their names, it was all over for them. They were caught for violating a no contact order and apparently argued to the police that I am mentally regressed and kidnapped by My husband was 21 at the time while I was 20, along with me saying I need supervision, etc. But with a previous false police report and a long paper trail of evidence documenting the abuse, they didn't have a leg to stand on. Finally, I had the police show up to my door to relay all of this information. They tell me how after my parents argued on and on about how they deserved to see their mentally ill daughter and were refused, they turned around and asked for a welfare check because that crazy man is keeping her captive. They demanded the officers to take me to them since we're her parents, so we legally have the right to be around her. I had a laugh with the officers, especially when they told me that my parents had left a phone number to call them on to talk, but didn't think to get a SIM for this country and kept the one from theirs on another continent. I, of course, declined and reinstated my desire for no contact. Apparently, after being told this, they completely lost their minds at the officers to the point they were ordered to leave the country or face charges on stalking and harassment. They left, of course, and began telling everyone how selfish I was. They began saying how depressed they were, but weren't smart, since only a couple of hours after they were reprimanded by the authorities, took videos of them partying, drinking, dancing, and laughing together. The day after, they were posting about their shopping sprees in Paris and partying. But yeah, I do that too when I'm depressed. There is a good end for this though. They were stupid enough to barge into the house of my godparent and threaten her in front of her young children and husband, who is an officer. Word got around quickly, and now people are starting to see them for who they really are. There's no chance they'll be allowed in this country ever again after now 2 false police reports and a possible case of stalking, harassment, etc. So I'm safe here. Probably worth mentioning, they're pretty wealthy and rely mainly on my dad's business. Word is now that he's been exposed. That's plummeting. All's well that ends well. Update. Turns out my parents called and threatened my godparent last night. There are talks of them wanting to sue me for slander. If I receive anything including a court date, I'm ready to take them down and will update again. Wow, it's a crazy end to that story. Unbelievable how the parents flew all the way out there and then got banned from the country. Let me know your favorite part of that story down in the comments below, and while you're down there, let me know if you'd like me to explore any other subreddits other than Entitled Parents, or if you'd like me to just keep doing this. I really enjoyed the Entitled Parents videos, but if you'd like me to do something else, I'm down to cater to that. I'm doing this for you guys. One more thing before the next story, as you know, I'm doing an Amazon gift card giveaway, so make sure you're subscribed and you could win. No more chit chat. Entitled parents think their child deserves an honors placement regardless of his class performance. I worked in a pretty affluent school district for 14 years and met a lot of entitled parents. These two from my first year of teaching never left my mind though. As an 8th grade English teacher, it was my job to recommend either Honors English, Level 1 English, or Level 2 English for my students' 9th grade year. Personally, I hated this. I want kids to work to the best of their abilities and not make them feel inferior when they just might not be mentally mature enough for a higher placement yet. Math and science also had to make similar recs. To clarify, Level 1 was a normal, rigorous class, probably comparable to the class I was currently teaching. Level 2 was for kids who really struggled with reading and writing. Honors was very intense. Students would write numerous papers that might not even get graded, and they would have multiple chapters to read independently each night, frequent tests and quizzes, and no grammar instruction, because they should have already mastered that at this point. It was probably appropriate for maybe 20% of students at most. Math and science were tracked in the same way. Parents never liked this either. Multiple complaints every year, but parents would choose to waive their children into whichever level they decided. Pretty much never went well. So many kids who would waive into honors would fail quarter 1 and need to drop a level before the end of the semester. On the other hand, if a kid dominated in Level 1, their current teacher could suggest moving them up. These two entitled parents asked for a meeting with me, the math teacher and science teacher. When they joined us in the room we were meeting in, they were absolutely simmering with rage. Their boy had not been recommended for any honors classes, and that was not okay. Basically, we explained, kiddo did a good job, did his homework, got solid B's and some A's, did what he was asked, no more and no less. He fit the description of a Level 1 kid. Entitled dad, either you are all wrong or this school has failed our son. He came in with straight A's in elementary school. You obviously didn't teach him well enough, or you placed him incorrectly. Entitled mother, my husband and I graduated from Ivy League schools. Our other 2 children are in Ivy League schools. Us, okay, but we aren't placing them or you. We're placing this kiddo. And pretty much if you do your work in our elementary schools, you get an A. Entitled dad, well then you need to give him more time to do better. He obviously wasn't trying. Us, honors kids don't need to be warned to try. They just try and succeed because they're really advanced in these areas. Entitled mother, how will he get in a good college if he's in Level 1? Us, every year almost all of the senior class goes on to college, some fantastic colleges too. Plus if he does well, he can go up a level. Entitled dad, then put him in honors, and if he does badly, he can move down. Us, that can be really tough on a kid, to be in a class with other kids and then have to leave because you can't achieve what they can. Also, the class has to slow down to try to help any kid who isn't grasping the material, and now the whole class is behind. It's much better for a kid's self-esteem to do so well they move up. Also, remember you can waive him in. Entitled mother, we don't want to waive him in, we want you to recommend him. Entitled dad, all of our friends' kids are in honors. How would it look if we had to waive our boy in? Ding ding ding, there it is. They can't hold their heads high in the country club if their son is just normal. We end up saying if the boy made a drastic improvement by the end of the year, we would reconsider. By the way, he didn't. Even with some incredible papers written at home for my class. Weird how he couldn't write as well in class. The parents waved him in. He bombed all 3 and ended up back in Level 1 for all except science. Ended up passing science by the skin of his teeth. Honestly, my heart goes out to him. That really sucks, especially if your parents are comparing your success to theirs, your siblings, and your neighbors. I have to say, parents like that are abominations. Instead of helping or coaching him to reach that level, they try to ignore reality, and not even for the kid's benefit, really. It was entirely for their own status seeking, to be just as good as the neighbors and their kids. If you have any stories like this of when you or one of your friends was in school, feel free to share it in the comments below. I would love to read all these stories. I'd like to give a shout out to my consistent commenters, Bookish for giving advice on my channel and helping me grow, and Red Girl for always commenting on my videos. Thank you so much. I love making these videos, and you really just compound my desire to do it. So I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.